Well, well, well. What a day. This was quite a shocking twist here, like a Darman climax. We had YouTube finally issue a statement on what they're doing about the SSSniperWolf doxing situation, and we had SSniperWolf herself, the life of the party, come forward and make an apology post. And what a wacky ride it's been. And in the wise, timeless words of Captain Barbossa, you best start believing in cringe stories. You're in one. Because this is an absolute fucking headache. I know I don't really need to give you any kind of lore breakdown to bring you up to speed because of how huge this story's become, but it just doesn't feel right if I don't at least set the table with some silverware, just in case you're a little hungry and don't know what's going on. So, the briefest bullet points. Jax Films is a huge YouTuber. He called out another huge YouTuber named SSniperWolf for her reaction content to TikToks where she was basically just blatantly stealing it, not really transforming it, and he criticized her for it. He even made a whole channel dedicated to making fun of her and criticizing her for it further. So this led to this big stew of emotions and bad blood between the two of them. The stew bubbled over and started to spill when SSniperWolf decided to dox Jax Films on her Instagram story where she showed up at his house and posted his house to her 5 million followers on Instagram, which obviously you can't do. That's a criminal act. SSniperWolf shows up at Jax Films' door like the fucking hash-slinging slasher here, trick-or-treating when she wasn't invited, and claims that she was just trying to talk it out like adults, even though this is not how adults handle any kind of situation. You can't just dox someone that you have beef with online. So the question then became, what is YouTube going to do about it? Because not only is this not allowed legally, it's not allowed on YouTube's terms, period. And historically, YouTube has been cutthroat with this kind of thing. They do not take doxing lightly. So it's been about a week, and YouTube has finally broken their silence on what they plan to do. And man, what a fucking stinker. Boy howdy, it would be less smelly in a porta potty. Take a peek at their tweet here. Today they spat this drivel out, confirming SSniperWolf has received a temporary monetization suspension per creator responsibility policies. Off-platform actions that put others' personal safety at risk harm our community, and the behavior on both sides isn't what we want on YouTube. Hoping everyone helps move this convo to a better place. They actually just unironically dropped a both sides in this situation. That is one of those things where you read it and it's like a flashbang hits you, like all your senses go out and you have to question if what you just read was real. I don't even know how they were able to reach deep enough in their ass to pull out a both sides statement for this one. Like, what did he do wrong? I don't know why they're trying to make it sound like he's also guilty in this, or maybe even, somewhat responsible and to blame for how this played out, which is kind of how it reads, like they're fucking victim blaming him here. Like, what was his crime? What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? This is democracy manifest. That's a classic Charles Doza line. I just had to slide in there. That just felt natural. But yeah, again, what did Jax Films do wrong? He is completely blameless here. There's no reason why they should be trying to make it sound like Jax Films did something wrong. His only crime was being alive, which gave her the means to target him. Like, I really can't wrap my head around how they could even make it seem like Jax Films is even remotely in the wrong here. If they're trying to say that the criticisms that he keeps tossing towards SSniperWolf is unwarranted, so the behavior is unacceptable, then that's even more delusional, because there's nothing wrong with criticisms. There's nothing wrong with making fun of SSniperWolf's content. He has literally done nothing that warrants any level of blame or warrants this kind of response from SSniperWolf to fucking dox him and publicly dox him and show up to his house. This was YouTube's chance for a big W here to finally prove they don't play favorites even with their most lucrative cash cows. This is one of those actions where it should have resulted in a harsh punishment, and YouTube had the opportunity to showcase, listen, we're gonna put the rumors to bed once and for all. There's no favoritism on this platform. We all play by the same rules. We all, put our pants on one leg at a time. SSniperWolf is getting punished for doxing. We don't take it lightly. But they didn't. They were extremely slow and very clearly extremely reluctant to take even the lightest bit of action against her. A temporary monetization suspension isn't the harshest punishment in the world. It is still a punishment, yes, but it's still more of like a slap on the wrist. We don't know how temporary it is. It could be like a fucking 10-hour monetary suspension. Like, this is actually the scene in SpongeBob. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Shuts the door. Okay, you're free to go. And it's like just 2 seconds has elapsed. It's just not really what most people would have expected from this, because it's not really enough for most people, given the gravity of the situation here, where Jax Films and his wife don't feel safe in their own home as a result of all of this. So this seems like a situation that they did just because they felt like they had to. There was too much backlash for them to continue to bury their head, so they did like the teeniest, tiniest little tiptoe into the pool of punishment, and they issued this temp monetization halt on SniperWolf's content. I imagine once all of this blows over, they'll flip it back on and it'll be back to business as usual for SniperWolf and YouTube. I'm sure she'll RSVP at the next, creator summit for YouTube. Like, it's just not really satisfactory for the majority of people here. And to top it all off, it's the way YouTube delivers it. Again, trying the both sides thing is just, it's so crazy and delusional. Now, SniperWolf did also issue an apology post. She couldn't even be bothered to do an apology video. She put it on Twitter, which is by far her least large platform, to try and keep as many eyes off of it as she can from her audience. So, at least as of right now, as of me making this, she hasn't made an apology video for her actual core audience to see. The timing of her apology statement is also very interesting because it comes almost immediately after YouTube's post. So this leads me to believe that SniperWolf and YouTube had some kind of handshake agreement where it'll be like a light punishment as long as she makes an apology on Twitter, and she obliged. Let me start by saying I'm sorry for my most recent actions. It is inexcusable. I'm sorry to Jax Films, YouTube, the entire creator community, and my incredible fans for not being a better example for appropriate conflict resolution. Jax Films, while we certainly don't see eye to eye and have our differences, I'm sorry for reacting the way I did when I should have taken the opportunity to show young creators how adults and professionals resolve conflict by communicating directly, respectfully, and privately. Not for views or content, but a meaningful example of how conflict should be solved. I will reach out directly and hope we can find some time to connect and communicate respectfully. I'd also like to thank YouTube for holding me accountable. I deserve it. Respect the decision and appreciate the opportunity to learn and grow from a true lapse in judgment. I don't really have too many thoughts on her apology. Anytime I even hear the phrase or read the phrase lapse in judgment, I just immediately think of the Logan Paul apology video. But there's really nothing she can say here. What she's done is absolutely indefensible. It's also very unlikely that she's being genuine here. Like, I don't think she feels remorse for it or anything. She did immediately make light of it by saying, "We pull up to your house, what are you going to do?" on her Instagram story following all of this. So this really does seem like this was kind of forced on her by YouTube. Not even the backlash from her audience or everyone online. I think she still believes that what she did is okay. It's just YouTube made her do this. That's my working game theory here. That's the impression I get when she says thanks to YouTube for holding her accountable. That seems really fake. YouTube isn't really holding her accountable. Temporarily suspending her monetization is a punishment, sure, but it's not exactly one that fits the crime, which is why so many people are dissatisfied with this whole situation and the way that it's concluding here. Unfortunately, it does seem like this is where the situation is wrapping up, and I don't think a lesson has been learned by SniperWolf nor by YouTube. I truly think that all of the backlash over the last week, the millions upon millions of people that have been talking about it nonstop, did not matter at all to either party. They just felt at some point, okay, fine, we'll do a little something so you guys can just shut up about it. And that's what we saw today. Pretty disappointing stuff overall. That's about it. So yeah.